Hi guys. So I started talking to this lady at the grocery store because she noticed I had a lot of canned vegetables, and she's like, what's going on here? Well, I make my own dog food, and I use 3 pounds of ground beef, brown rice or white rice, and I use mixed vegetables with no added salt, and I use chicken broth. So she's like, oh wow, I wish I can do that. Well, I have 2 dogs, but she has 1 big dog, and it's really hard to, well, it's not really hard, but I mean, I guess it's kind of hard to keep the amount of food that she would need on hand. It's a lot of work. And she mentioned that she has small children and I don't, so it's easier for me to make the dog's food. But it was so funny because not only did I tell her that I made my dog's food, but I told her about, you know, well, I don't have small children at home. I have 2 adult daughters, one who lives out of state and the other one lives fairly close to me. And she's like, oh, wow. She's like, well, that's great. Like, you're such a good dog mommy. And it was just pretty cool talking to her. But I was like, wait a minute. Maybe my YouTube audience wants to know what, you know, why I do what I do. Well, a long time ago, I used to have big dogs. And I did feed them kibble. But I have small dogs now. And the reason why we started making their food at home, their food also includes some vitamin supplements, but we started making their food at home because the younger dog got a disease called IMHA, and that disease is like it's an autoimmune disease, but it's like anemia. And so, well, let me give you a backstory. My younger Shih Tzu, when we got her, you know how they say, take him in, get him puppy vaccinated. So we did that, and at around 6 months old, she started vomiting. Like, she would vomit in the morning, early in the morning, or at night when we were asleep. And it started at 6 months old. And when she was vomiting, you know, it would come through her esophagus. And sometimes, you know, some dogs, they vomit like a yellow foamy stuff. Well, she was vomiting the yellow foamy stuff, and sometimes that would have blood in it, or she would vomit her food. And whenever she would vomit her food, it would be the shape of like the intestine. And so we took her to the doctor, and she had x-rays, and the x-rays came back normal. She had an ultrasound, and the ultrasound came back fairly normal. The only thing that they noticed was that her stomach had a little bit of inflammation, but they said sometimes that the inflammation is caused by the vomiting, or because sorry, I just got back from the grocery store and I was feeding my dogs, but because she was vomiting, that could have irritated her stomach, and that's why her stomach was inflamed. So we took that, I guess, as the answer was, okay, there's nothing wrong on the ultrasound. There's nothing wrong on the x-rays. We'll just change her diet. So we changed her diet to a sensitive, bland diet sensitive stomach bland diet, which was made for dogs. But her vomiting only subsided a little bit. Like sometimes she wouldn't throw up. Maybe it helped a little bit because sometimes she wouldn't throw up for 3 days. Sometimes she wouldn't throw up for a week. And then sometimes she would throw up. But then all dogs do that. So we were like, well, you know, all dogs do that. So I guess it's normal for her to throw up like once or twice a month. So now my dog is 4 years old at this point. You know, she's still kind of going through it. The doctor prescribed some medication, but the medication that they prescribed, you're not supposed to give that to your dog give them doses more than 4 days consecutively, and then you're supposed to stop. So we did that. While we were giving her the medication, it stopped because that medication basically sends messages to the brain for the stomach to not be nauseated, and that's why it stopped. So we didn't really fix the problem. So whenever I would take her off the medication, it would be about 3 days and she would go without vomiting. Sometimes a week she would go without vomiting. And so I was pretty satisfied with that because it's just, to me, it felt so devastating to see her vomiting because I knew her stomach was hurting, and whenever she didn't want to eat her breakfast or her dinner, we knew that that was a sign that her stomach was upset. So we kept doing that routine, and then I started making her food because I was like, no, I'm not going to give her this kibble. I think she needs to not eat poultry. That's what I thought. So I'm going to feed her a omega-3 fatty diet, which was made with salmon and rice and vegetables and broccoli or whatever I could find, but salmon and rice. And so I did that for a little while, and she probably wouldn't have an episode for about a month, 2 months maybe, and then she would again. So again, we never really fixed the problem. So 1 year ago, my husband came home to a potty puddle, which our dogs do not potty in the house. So when he came home to a potty puddle and saw that it was reddish, we immediately knew that there was a problem, and we rushed her to the hospital. So we rushed her to the hospital, and the doctor drew blood, and the blood results came back that she had IMHA, which is an autoimmune disease which caused her immune system to overact and attack her red blood cells, which caused anemia, and told us to take her to emergency, that she was going to need a blood transfusion. So we took her to emergency. That's what happened. She needed a blood transfusion. So we gave her the blood transfusion, and we had to wait 24 hours to see if that was going to work. And we waited the 24 hours. We put her on a really heavy medicine routine, and then we had to take her back in 24 hours to have her blood tested again, and if her blood levels were low again, then she would need another blood transfusion, but it wasn't going to be in the hospital. She could have the blood transfusion, we drop her off, and then we can pick her back up. So we did that because her blood level was low. The medication wasn't working fast enough, and the immune system was still overactive. So we gave her another blood transfusion. The medication started to kick in, and at this point, we just had to monitor her. So we took her back again, 24 or 48 hours, I don't remember, later, to have her blood tested again, and her blood levels were rising. So, which meant the medication was working and she wasn't going to need any more blood transfusions. So we kept her on this medication routine or regimen for about 6 months. But during the whole 6 months that she was on the medication, she never vomited. And the medication was omeprazole and prednisolone. That's a steroid. And the omeprazole is kind of like a Tums. There are other medications too, but the omeprazole and the prednisolone, she's still on that. So after 6 months, the doctor said I can start weaning her off of the medication. So I did, and then I did a complete stop. And when I did the complete stop, she started vomiting again. So I told the doctor, but I took it upon myself. Oh, I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving too, so I bought some stuff for Thanksgiving. So I took it upon myself to start her medication again, but only the steroid and the Tums, because the Tums would coat her stomach for the steroid. So I did that, but in a very small dose, and it worked. So her IMHA never came back, and the vomiting never came back. So anyways, I think I was supposed to be telling you why I make the dog food. I was making their dog food before she even got IMHA. Let me show you. I'll show you my dog. If you look at my YouTube stories, and I don't know if she's in some of the videos, but she might only be in the stories. Nola. Oh, she's actually in my refrigerator clean out, but very quickly. This is Nola. That's my doggie. She's a little Shih Tzu. Yeah, she loves her homemade dog food. And I love her so much. So anyways, because of the vomiting in the very first place, I started making their dog food. Well, they don't get allergies. They don't get ear infections. They don't scratch a lot. The only time they scratch is like, well, the little dog. The only time she scratches is like around summertime, but it's a summertime allergy that she gets every year. And we have her on an itch medication, but only for about 3 months. But we have a 15-year-old Shih Tzu, and that's a really long time for them to live. So she, though, she's very, very healthy. She doesn't have like that eye gunk. They don't get ear infections. They don't scratch a lot. They're just all around pretty healthy. So, and then I started talking to her about my kids and stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe like the cashier went through all of my stuff. I paid all of her stuff, and then she started paying, and here I am, still talking. So I bought a yam because I'm gonna make candied yams, and I bought some cheese, and I bought some, this is not for Thanksgiving, but just so you know, you can make your own street corn. I buy white, sweet, whole kernel corn, and I make my own street corn with the white corn, Parmesan cheese, lime juice, and I bought pineapple slices, and I bought some evaporated milk. Yeah, so I'm always all over the place, but this is how you get to know me. What was I gonna say? Okay, so the white corn, Parmesan cheese, lime juice, mayo, and tahini. So good. Oh my God, it's so good. Try it. Yeah, So that's what I got from the grocery store. I'm gonna put this away. I'm gonna make stuffed turkey breast, stuffing, mashed potatoes, green beans, candied yams, and a pie. I bought some cream cheese because I'm gonna make pie. Anyways, I wanted to tell you the story that I told this complete stranger. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me and my doggy. I'll go grab her one more time. Okay, tell everyone bye. Tell everyone bye. Tell them to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep buying Nola her medicine. We keep her medicine right here. This is her medicine in her little syringe that we give her medicine with. Anyways, I will be back with another video when I make my pie and my candied yams. We don't eat a lot of candied yams, so I only buy one, but these are pretty big. Yeah, so I'll be back with another video. Like, share, and subscribe.